Sup, welcome to what I watched in April 2022. It's been a fun month. Did watch some decent films, I would say, this month. Nothing like that completely blew my mind, but I watched some good stuff. It was a good month. Good month of film once again, and I'm very happy to be talking about movies once again on YouTube. Also, just a thank you. All you guys who have been watching the Batman video and who have been subscribing because of that video, welcome. Thank you and welcome. I'm so happy. I'm thinking of starting a Discord like community, but I'll just see how that goes. I feel like it's a bit too premature at the moment, but it's just been really cool seeing all the subscribers come through, and I'm just so happy. So anyway, let's get into this. Okay, so first up we have Joel Haver's new feature film. And Joel Haver, if you guys know me well, he's been a huge influence on what I make on YouTube and just on me as a creative in general. I love his like philosophy on things, on filmmaking, and I just love that he just makes movies with his friends, and they're usually really great. And I would say this one is once again pretty solid. It is called The Bad Guy, the Wolf, and the Surprise Party, and he filmed this during the Oscars again. He every year makes a feature film during the Oscars, and he films it during the Oscars. So whatever time the Oscars are, like around 3 hours, he films a whole film, and then he has to edit it within the week after the Oscars. And this was what he came up with, and it was really good. I really did enjoy it. It's not as good as his feature from last year, in my opinion. I thought narratively this one wasn't as strong, but this one definitely has like a bigger cast, and I did enjoy seeing Joel direct more characters and more people. And I think it's an awesome film. It's going A for awesome. It's great. He has like this almost like, he's got a very unique style where it looks very unpolished, and it makes the film feel more real and relevant because of how raw the film feels in a way. So it makes it more relatable and more impactful for me. I don't know, I love his stuff so much, and I think this is another really good film. If you do want to see really great Joel Haver films, then you must definitely check out one of his films called Pretend That I Love You, which is fantastic. It blew my mind. Love that film. Drowning in Potential is another great one. And then also Ireland. It's just called Ireland. And he made two of these three during the pandemic, I think, which is just awesome. And I love that he did that. And then yeah, the Drowning in Potential, I think, came out last year, and he did that with one of his friends. Really good, man. He's a really good filmmaker, and I really do love his stuff. All of his stuff is available on YouTube, so go check it out. It's free, don't have to pay anything. He's a great filmmaker, and I think I don't know, I like to think that he's going to be very influential on just the like filmmaking going forward, and like in years to come he'll be looked back on as being a very influential filmmaker. I really do see that for him. So really great feature film once again by him, and I had a really great time with it. Next up we watched Swiss Army Man. So if you guys know me as well, you know that I'm absolutely super excited for Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is finally coming in my country this month in May, 13th of May. Cannot wait. And yeah, so I was like, let me go back and watch what other films these directors have made, and they're called the Daniels, which I'm Daniel, so one day I'm going to like sneak my way in there. Then instead of the duo, the Daniels, it's going to be the Daniels, but the trio, because I'm going to be with them. I'm joking. But yeah, so Swiss Army Man was a film that they did in 2016, and it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. It's like very, what's the right word? It's very not for everyone, if that makes sense. But it still is a pretty good time. I'm going to put it in B for best. I had a really enjoyable time with this. Very selective sort of humor for certain audiences, I think. Like, some people are going to find this film just really odd, really random, and probably just not funny. And then other people are going to find the complete opposite. They're going to find this film incredibly funny and really just amazing for them, and I totally get that. I was kind of in the middle. I found some of the film really good, and I liked some of the ideas that they established and that they did, but then other parts of the film I was like, okay, this is kind of a bit too much here, or not enough here, and then some things I just felt like just weren't addressed as well, or they didn't dive deep enough into the certain themes that they were trying to establish. But that being said, I do think it's a very sort of experimental and original film, and I think for the most part it works really well. I don't see many other filmmakers being able to execute this sort of idea and this sort of story as well as the Daniels did. and for that reason, I think it's a best film, B for best. I did enjoy it. I would. It's one of those films I probably would enjoy more second time watching it as well. I think it just caught me so off guard the first time that I was just kind of like, oh wow, this is happening. Okay, so it was good. I enjoyed it, and I am excited to revisit it in the future. But for now, it's going to go into the B tier for this month. And then we had Death on the Nile. I watched this with some friends, and I really didn't enjoy this film, man. I thought it was incredibly average, and it's going to go E tier. Yeah, it was one of the worst films I saw this month by far. Um, and I'm upset about that because I feel like this franchise has so much potential. The original source material is great and it's like got a lot of fans. It's got like a faithful fan base, and I just thought this film was incredibly average, very predictable. It meanders all over the place, and also some of the CGI and visual effects are the worst I've seen from the pandemic era films. Like so bad. Some terrible blue and green screen, and it made the film look like just so dull and just it didn't feel like it had any sort of atmosphere to it. It just felt like a set the whole time, um, and like in a bad way. Like sometimes I like when they sort of do like have it like a sort of play feel or like a set feel, but this just felt really bad and cheap and not well executed. And it probably was because they made this film during the pandemic. I get that, but they've made some other films during the pandemic and they have been really good. So it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. And I thought this film just dropped the ball in a lot of ways. Didn't feel like a lot of the cast were great either, although some of the cast are like usually good in films. Maybe it was because of the way the film was written, or I don't know, but it just felt super dull, and I didn't love it, and I'm not excited to ever watch this film again. I thought it was super boring, and I could kind of see who the villain was from the time the film began. Like it becomes very predictable as it goes. So unfortunately, Death on the Nile is one of the worst films I've seen this month, and it's going to go E tier. And I'm a little upset about that because I didn't mind Murder on the Orient Express, which came out a couple of years ago. And this is obviously like in the same sort of franchise, but this one I just thought was so like average and okay. So it's unfortunate. But anyway, moving on. Next up we have Stuber. Stuber, I think that's how you say it. And I watched this with some friends as well, and I actually had a good time with this one. I'm gonna put it C if it could have been better, but it's good. It's a good film. The film stars Camille Nanjiani, I hope that's how you say his name, and then Dave Bautista. And they make up this like really sort of dynamic and interesting duo throughout the film. It's pretty much about this cop who needs a ride to try investigate this crime and try to stop the bad guys. And he hires an Uber, and then the Uber driver gets caught up in this mess, and they have to sort of have each other's backs throughout the film. And the whole time the Uber driver is trying to get back to this one girl that he likes, and it's a fun film. It's a fun film. It's like takes place within like a day or two, I think, as well. So it's like feels very sort of like confined to like a day, which I kind of liked. It gives the film like a nice pace to it. And there were some really good action sequences in this film, like really good, more than I was expecting from a film like this. And also the comedy was a lot better than I was expecting. Some really good jokes that land really well. And obviously there are a few jokes here and there that were okay and average, but for the most part, I actually thought this film was pretty solid and pretty good. So it's going for C tier, and I do recommend you guys check it out if you have not yet seen it. I think it came out in 2019 or 2020, so it's a recent film, but I wasn't familiar with it, and I kind of just missed it. So I don't know why I missed it, but it's a really good film, and I would recommend you guys check it out. Okay, and then we have The Castle, and this has become kind of like a cult classic film. It's got a very strong fan base. It's an Australian film, and if you guys have seen it, you know, it's amazing. You know what? I'm actually putting it an A for awesome. It's an amazing film. It really is good. It's one of the like films that are like super comforting as well in a weird way, and it's very like sort of family focused and family orientated, which I did like. And it's pretty much about this dad who's just trying to look after his family, but there's an airport next to their house, and the airport wants to buy the land where these houses are because they want to expand their airports. Makes sense, but this dad just does not want to give up the home he's built for his family. And I found that just really wholesome. And then the whole film, like as well, the children are trying to like sort of like get their dad's attention and like just see that their dad approves of what they're doing, and it's like super heartwarming. And I don't know, man, it's like a really good comforting film. It's like a good comfort film. And I watched this with some friends as well. It's a very quotable film, very funny, some really good jokes, and we had a great time with this once again. Some of our friends had not yet seen it, so it was a great time to just revisit this film and enjoy it with other people. And I do really recommend it. It is quite an old film, but it still holds up, and it's got that like Australian humor, which I really find funny sometimes when it's done right. So it was a great film. I absolutely loved it. One of the best things I saw this whole month, definitely. Alrighty, and then we watched The Lost City, which was one of two adventure films I saw this month, and it was definitely the better one of the two that I saw this month. And I'm gonna put it in C tier. The Lost City, starring Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. And pretty much what this film's about is a romance adventure novelist or author who gets paired up with her cover model for her books, who's played by Channing Tatum, and Sandra Bullock's the author or novelist. And they go on this like really fun adventure, and it's really fun. I had a good time with this. Again, some really good action that I was not expecting from this film, and also some pretty funny moments in it. And it does sort of pay reference and homage to other adventure films from the past. There were a few like Indiana Jones like references here and there, which I did enjoy. And although this film is like in a very sort of genre-orientated adventure film that you're familiar with and that you know what to kind of expect going into it, it does sort of feel a bit more original because of the concept and the sort of the interesting background of the characters. It's not like these characters are like archaeologists or, you know, like these adventure people or these like explorers or whatever. They're just an author and a cover model for a book, and they're thrown into this adventure, and it's really fun. So I had a really good time with this, and I highly recommend you guys check it out. It is in cinemas right now, and it is definitely better than Uncharted, so go check it out. Okay, and then next up we have the new Nicolas Cage film, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And that is also going to go A for awesome. This film was insane. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage. But Nicolas Cage is at a stage in his career where some of his films just haven't been being like received as well. And he's just a bit confused on what the next step is in his life. So he decides to go to this person's birthday party for like $1 million or something, and while he's there, a whole bunch of stuff starts happening, and it's a great film. Very self-aware, and I kind of feel like Nicolas Cage was the only actor who could have done this sort of idea and this concept justice, in my opinion. I would say that the sort of third act of this film gets a bit crazy, and it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but the rest of the film I thought was really, really fun. And the person's party that Nicolas Cage is attending is a character who is played by Pedro Pascal. And Pedro Pascal is a brilliant actor. He's got such charisma on screen, and like every single role he's in, he almost steals every scene from any movie that he's in. Like, I'm being serious. Even with Nicolas Cage, who's an icon, who's one of the best actors of all time, Pedro Pascal manages to keep his own in every scene, and he just plays with Nicolas Cage so well. And they make such a great duo throughout this film. I absolutely love this film. There are some moments where it just didn't really work for me that much. There were some jokes that I thought didn't work either, and some of the pacing here and there wasn't the best, I feel. But for the most part, this film surprised me in many ways, and it may have been my favorite thing I watched this whole month. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It is in cinemas now. I highly recommend you guys go check it out, especially if you are a Nick Cage fan, because it is fantastic. If you are a Nick Cage fan, you are going to have an absolutely amazing time with this movie. I'm being serious, it's great. Whoa, Cage! Okay, last two, let's go. So, next up we have Lemonade Mouth, which is a Disney film. Don't ask me why I watch this. Some of my friends like just forced me to watch this against my will. And I'll be honest, I had a decent time with it. It's gonna go D for decent. It's gonna go D for decent, man. It was good. I actually had a good time with it. Quite a fun story. It's got like a bit of a Breakfast Club vibe to it. So if you like that film, you might enjoy this. Very cheesy, terrible acting, some like really bad like filmmaking choices throughout this film. There's a scene where the characters are like all outside, and they got like raincoats on and it's raining, but it's clearly like a summer day, And I'm kind of like, why did they want to make it look like it was raining? Because it didn't really add much to the scene or the story at that point. And I'm like, why didn't they just like make it a sunny day? It made no sense to me. Anyway, so there's a few moments like that throughout this film, and I was like, okay, what's happening here? But I did have a good time. I thought it was fun, and I watched it with some Lemonade Mouth fans, and they loved it, man. They were singing along, they were like laughing, they had a good time. So I was kind of just sitting there like, okay, maybe this is what people feel like when they watch Star Wars with me, because of how like nostalgic it feels, you know? Okay, and last but not least, we have Uncharted with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. And it's going to go D for decent. Halfway through this film, I kind of just sat back and I was like, okay, this film makes no sense. It's really dumb. It's really silly, but I'm going to enjoy it. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. It was a fun film. But it just, with these sort of adventure films, you kind of want to feel like this could have been like a sort of undiscovered secret that's still a part of the world, you know? I feel like National Treasure did that really well. I feel like Indiana Jones, besides Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, did that really well. And even The Lost City, I thought it did it pretty well. But Uncharted, like, it just makes no sense, some of the stuff they're doing. And I'm like, the final act of this film is just so like crazy and all over the place. I'm just like, what is even happening? Like, it was crazy. I must say, as well, I'm not like a huge Uncharted fan. Like, I haven't like ever played one of the games fully through. I'm very familiar with some of the stories that have been told throughout the games. I got this weird thing where like I watch all the cutscenes of a PlayStation game back to back because I didn't have a PlayStation. So like I kind of like would watch, like for example Spider-Man, watched all the 2 hours and 30 minutes of cutscenes for the story, but I never actually played the game. I know it's weird, but I do that. So with Uncharted, like I kind of am familiar with some of the storylines in the games, but I'm not like a massive Uncharted fan. But yeah, even still, even if you're a fan, I don't know if the fans are gonna love this one. I feel like the games were more grounded than this film was, and it's weird that the filmmakers decided to make this film more like out there. I don't know. There are some fun action sequences, don't get me wrong, and some funny moments, but I felt like it was pretty dull for the most part, and I was actually very disappointed. So Uncharted is D for decent, and it's not as bad as Death on the Nile, but it's close. Like, if there was a tier between D and E, it would be there, you know? Anyway, guys, that is what I watched in April of 2022. I cannot wait for May. There are some bangers coming out this month. I'm looking forward to it, including Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and also Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think we get in the Northman this month, but we might be. I'm also very keen for that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what your favorite film you watched was in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.